What I wanted to talk about was my introduction into classic rock. I'm also looking this way a lot because my daughter is sleeping and I have a monitor on, so you get it. I always say that it all started back in July of 1994, where my parents went to see Pink Floyd on their Division Bell tour at the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan. My mom was very, very far along at that point, and apparently shortly after I was born, if I had any trouble falling asleep, they'd play Pink Floyd and that would essentially be my lullaby. Everybody asks why I know so many songs, which I'm telling you, I don't know that much. Okay? I always say, well, I went to a Pink Floyd concert in the womb. I'm also a huge Pink Floyd fan to this day, so that all worked out. But needless to say, music has always been just flowing. My dad had a really, really huge influence on my classic rock music taste. Dad would come get me every other weekend and pick me up in his truck, and he'd be playing tunes all the time. And I'd know that he was in our driveway because of just how loud the bass was bursting out of his truck. He played The Cult, Def Leppard, Godsmack, Disturbed, Guns N' Roses, played everything under the sun for me, and a lot of it is just super nostalgic. Other times too, it came with a music lesson. He would talk to me about, what this song meant and what that song meant. One that stood out to me the most, which I actually ended up making a video about this maybe over a year ago now, about Pat Benatar's song, Hell is for Children. As an 8-year-old, that was a little traumatizing, and I would have a new mix CD every other weekend, ready to go, listening to it for the entire, 2 weeks, playing songs over and over and over again. I loved this music. It felt like it just filled my soul somehow. And later on, as I grew up, some little hints of my mom knowing classic rock, and we were driving and we were listening to Led Zeppelin, and A Whole Lot of Love came on, but I didn't know that song. My mom explained to me how to listen to it, and I had to wait for the sound of bees coming in. She said, it's so cool. And she said, okay, this is the part, right? The section I'm talking about. And I was thinking, holy crap, this is nuts. And I fell in love with the song. I honestly became obsessed with it, and I listened to it over and over and over and over again. I learned the song, actually. Ended up singing it at my high school talent show on my last year, just to end it with a bang, you know what I mean? Always been something that I felt super connected to, and a lot of modern music, it never sat with me the way that classic rock music does. There's something so soul-fulfilling, something powerful, something nostalgic about a time that I had never even been a part of. And that's the thing that is so unexplainable. I cannot find the words to just simply describe how it feels listening to it as somebody who was born in the 90s. Honest to God, I just love it. I love it. It's my favorite, and it's all that I listen to. There's maybe the occasional modern band that I do like to enjoy listening to, and I'm sure there are a lot of really, really good bands out there that I just haven't found out about. I'm just so stuck in this time capsule and still learning, still discovering new music. It comes down to Heart as well. When I was maybe 17 or 18, I just fell in love with Heart. I knew about Heart. I was very, very aware of Heart, and in fact, the song These Dreams was something that also was very nostalgic to me, because I remember being a little kid sitting in the back of my mom's Explorer and hearing that song come on the radio. And hearing that song for the first time again after such a significant amount of time, I just thought, wow, this song just really, it just resonates. Like, it just sits right here and it just fills me up. It's weird. Did more digging with Heart's music and thought, well, first of all, they're two sisters, they're super badass, they're in a rock and roll band. Ann Wilson's voice is like the best female voice I've ever heard in my life. No bias or anything. I just played album after album after album. I was so enamored by their music, by their talent, by just how much they stood out among so many. But they were their own, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were just, and with Ann's voice, she's so versatile, right? You can hear like 0.2 seconds of her voice and no, that's Ann Wilson. It's just incredible. That love just grew stronger and stronger and stronger for their music and appreciating them and who they are. And then that also segued into digging into other bands. And I'm still listening to stuff that I've never even listened to before. I'm trying to just fill this with so much knowledge and understanding of different genres of music, how they evolved, who was inspired by who, how you can hear certain sounds by different bands because they were inspired by other bands. Thank you so much for being here. Super stoked. Hope you appreciated my story, and please feel free to share how you discovered classic rock and how you fell in love with it. What made you fall in love with classic rock? And we'll see you next time.